When the old man went in the mines, they used picks and shovels to get out the coal, carbide lamps to light their way, caged canaries to warn them of gas by dying. They had shaggy little ponies to move out the coal cars, children to dig where the roof was low. Him they had at 11.
Now boys on ponies fly like leaves blown away across hills haunted by the gaunt specters of black-lunged miners, with eyes bewildered for their not knowing who among them lives, who is dead. They sit on porches of old company houses, and nobody knows for sure.
There were always slate falls and explosions, black damp, black lung, but the mines changed.
Like thistledown in summer, little boys on ponies floating through old company towns, eyes of old men staring. Under the ponies that run in the meadows, under the haze of summer flowers, under the grass and the roots of trees, under the creatures that live in the ground, the mined-out tunnels where the roofs cave in, splintering posts set by the miners, filling the passages left by the miners, letting the meadows settle and slump like a blue and gold blanket over the mines.
From the book Our Song Too by Monongalia County native Margaret McDowell, those poems, read by the author and Ron Ione, are called Ghost Story and Pastoral. Margaret, what motivated you to juxtapose boys on ponies and men in the mines?
Well, men used to have to go into the mines when they were 12, 14 years old, and the old miners worked as children, whereas boys now can ride ponies and have fun.
Was there also an association with ponies being inside the mines in those earlier days?
Yes, the miners worked with ponies all the time. That's how they got out the coal, especially in the low-roofed mines.
The title of your first book, View from College Avenue, is self-explanatory. Why the title for your second volume, Our Song Too?
That had to do with the bicentennial, the year I wrote the book. A friend of mine and I went to the first bicentennial meeting, and we found that we were probably the only people there who weren't descendants of original settlers in this area. And we came away feeling that all the generations that have followed those generations, those early generations, are part of the song too, the song that is Appalachia.
How have you incorporated that into your book of poetry?
Well, I used a theme very like, arranged the book very like a symphony, so that the early movements of the song were fog images of people moving across the mountains, not just the original settlers, but later, the ones who came from Italy and England later, who were the miners. And throughout the book, I try to return always to that theme of movement and new generations.
How long have you been writing, and how much of your time is spent writing?
I think I began writing when I was about 13, and I have written in sort of spells ever since. Years go by that I don't do much of anything. Then I write a whole lot for a while.
How did you go about publishing your books?
Well, with a lot of fun. They were fun to do. The first one, students who lived in the house, in my rooming house, helped put it together. We did all the collating ourselves. We did everything we could to make it as cheap as possible, so we could sell it cheaply. We wanted to be able to sell it to the people about whom it was written, the students on the street and on the campus.
So it was a self-publishing project.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about the second one?
I did that one myself.
And the illustrations?
I did those.
How much artwork do you do?
Not a lot, really. I needed the pictures, so I did them. And I think when you work with a pen, that drawing comes almost second nature to writing. It's sort of a doodling.
There are reoccurring symbols: the fog, the song, the dream, the roots. In our song, too, Margaret McDowell has included a poem called Symbols, read on location at a neighbor's farm by the poet, and a quartet of readers: Ron Ione, Kathy Lee Dugan, Steve Hartman, and Chris Schaefer.
A beat never stopping, throbbing always on drums thrown down through the people.
Sang by the elders,
by the sisters and the brothers.
it is something they say to each other, to their young.
Can't you see? You have to face reality.
Can't you see?
Can't you see? The people in the dream, in the fog,
Being wraiths and spirits stirred in its motion.
wanting a symbol for its reaching, its rising in sunlight toward heaven, downward into its past. The roots of fog are the trickles of water dripping off tree leaves,
Falling
Separate.
into the earth.
the people seeing its reality in the roots of a tree. The dream of the movement to be held.
To sense roots groping downward into whatever earth means to the dreamer.
No matter what it means to the tree,